Oh, I just got finished eating this really good plant-based protein bowl, and it was bomb, and I'm still kind of thinking about it. Anyways, welcome back, y'all. I'm Chantel. I'm here to bring to you another video, one that is a little difficult to talk about, but really I've come to terms with it by now, and I'm just here to share with you guys because I did a poll on my Instagram and asked people what they wanted to hear more about, and this was the one that they wanted to hear first. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about why I'm no longer 100% plant-based and why. So I'm trying not to make this video super long, but make sure you stay to the end because I'll be talking about why, what I'm doing, and what I'm going to be doing going forward. So yeah, in the meantime, if you haven't already, make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos. So disclaimer, I have written down everything, kind of what I wanted to talk about. And I hope I got everything because I really just didn't want to make this video super long. But so if I look down, that's why. I really don't want to make this video like a why I became no longer vegan or why I'm no longer vegan video. I want to talk about a little bit more as a health coach about the nutrition aspect of it and just some things that I've learned from this situation. I have learned how to eat more plant-based foods. And I think that above all else is most important health-wise and also from a ethical standpoint, because no matter what, I think as long as you're reducing your consumption of animal products, you're also being contributing to the positivity of, you know, the vegan lifestyle. So I think that a lot of times we minimize that people just because it's like an all or nothing type of thing, but that's not true. And let me be if you haven't heard it already, let me be the first to tell you, as long as you're making some kind of impact, you're still making a contribution. So don't let anybody take that away from you if you're not all the way vegan, or if you're, you know, whatever the situation is for you. Just don't feel like you're not contributing enough, because you are. So I guess getting into why, so I guess a couple of months ago, I guess when all the whole why I'm no longer vegan videos started to come out, I started to do a lot of research, and I want to say that I did identify with some of what a lot of people were thinking from the lethargic standpoint, from, you know, feeling like, you know, a little bit of brain fog, things like that. But it made me just do my own research. That wasn't the point where I decided, oh, I'm not going to be plant-based anymore. But it did make me do my research and educate myself a little bit more, because I think that people are so fixated on becoming a certain thing that they're not researching both sides. And I think I saw somebody's YouTube video who said she never thought what it would be like having a healthy normal diet versus having a vegan one, because of course if you're having a plant-based diet, that seems relatively more healthy than a standard American diet, but that's because it is. But can you compare having a healthy, you know, American diet versus a vegan diet, and what are those implications? And I found that by doing research that you can still lead very healthy lives doing either, and that, you know, some people would argue that neither is more superior than the other, but they still seem to agree that, you know, cutting down on the unhealthy fats and the simple carbs are just things that you want to stay away from. And as long as you do that, then you can lead a pretty healthy life. And that was something that was an aha moment for me, that I was just like, I never really, I guess, explored that option of what it's like to include more plant-based options into your diet, but also eliminating some of those things like those simple carbohydrates, as well as unhealthy fats out of your diet, and you can still be healthy. But so another thing that I learned from this situation was that, oops, something's crawling on me. Another thing that I learned from this situation is that research, and I learned not just from the situation, but I learned from my studies as a nutrition coach, is that research, just because somebody puts out a study doesn't mean that it's backed by science, and if it is, it doesn't mean that it's a credible source of science. You know, there's different studies, case studies, and different things that people are very selective about sharing, even on plant-based and not plant-based sites. If anybody wants to back up their claim, all they have to do is throw out this thing that says the research has shown, and then we put up this article about it. But I've just learned now by doing my own research that a lot of that stuff is just you can find anything to support any claim that you have. And I really just started to throw out some of the stuff that I have been reading and thinking that it was 100% foolproof, because nothing is. And I just feel like 100% now that as long as you are trying to live a healthy lifestyle and eliminating some of those things that I talked about, and not even consuming, just not consuming as much, then you will lead a pretty healthy life. Not to mention, there's nothing that's a one-size-fits-all thing, and just because you are vegan or just because you are whatever the situation is, doesn't mean that you still might not become unhealthy in the future. You still could you know, have, you know, God forbid, get a disease or anything like that. Those things could still happen. So nobody is like bulletproof from disease. And I think that sometimes trying to have a superior, super clean diet kind of eliminates, it kind of makes you obsessed about, you know, just being perfect, and nobody is. So one thing that I learned in this experience is that I really wanted to just do my own research and just learn what works for my body. But I did recognize that those things were happening to me, and I started supplementing because I realized that I just wasn't being a responsible eater in general, or human in general, because I wasn't supplementing for those things that I should have. But or even if I was, you know, supplementing, I wasn't making sure that I was getting the proper nutrients, so that could have had a lot to do with me being tired and lethargic, and I understand that. But as I started to you know, try to do different things, I was like, well, you know, if it only takes me having one of these animal products in my diet every few days, and why not just do that versus just, you know, supplementing and taking all these supplements, because they can get a little expensive, but they're not super expensive, but they definitely can get up there. And let me just say that even if you do eat animal products, you still should supplement. And I want to say as well that I have had my blood levels checked before in the past, and the only thing that I was pretty deficient in the past is vitamin D, and I stopped supplementing for that, so that was just irresponsible on my behalf, but I knew that vitamin D was a big thing for me. But I also started taking things like B12 and algae and stuff like that, just to try to see if it helped out a little bit. I found that taking all those supplements and stuff kind of gave me a stomach ache, but I wasn't tripping about that because I just wanted to make sure that my health was good, and I was just finding myself to be super tired. My skin was just always kind of messing up, and I just was like, okay, well, let me just try, see what happens. I also want to say, when I started this channel about 2 years ago maybe, I really didn't know what direction that I was going to be going in, and I wasn't even plant-based at that time when I decided to do the channel. But then when I did go plant-based, or when I started that journey into having a vegan lifestyle, I really made my channel a lot about that, and really just because I know that what I eat in a day videos are very popular, and so I was making a lot of those videos, and people like to see those. They like to see my grocery hauls and things like that, so I started to make those a lot, and I really got excited about the lifestyle and really got into it. And I don't regret that at all, but it was a challenge, me thinking about, okay, well, what do I put out there now? What content do I put out there now? And one thing that I want to say is that as a nutrition coach, I decided that my business, that nutrition is not a one-size-fit-all thing, and that if I was targeting people who wanted a plant-based diet. However, I don't want to exclude people away from my business who just need help, or people because it also says to people, sorry, I'm outside and I'm getting like attacked. It also says to people that just because you eat animal products, you can, you know, your diet isn't healthy, and that's just not the case. People eat. Some of the healthiest people in the world are people who do consume a little bit of fish or a little bit of poultry, and less processed foods. And so it's a complete lie to just tell people that they can't be helped. And I think that me personally, and as a lot of other people who decided to go plant-based did it for dietary reasons and not necessarily just the ethical piece of it. And that makes veganism really attractive to somebody like me, because you know, I had struggled with my weight in the past, and it just became so easy to maintain my weight. But it didn't address the issue of me learning how to just have a standard diet, and how to eat, and how to eat responsibly, and how to ration my portions, and how to not overindulge and not to binge. But me going right into the plant-based diet helped me manage all that without me thinking about it. It became more and more attractive to me to start to advertise my business and market my business to people of who has any type of diet, whether you prefer keto, whether you prefer, you know, just a standard American diet, whether you want to be plant-based. I think all of them can help in certain ways, and you just have to deal with those things like overeating, portion control, societal pressures, things like that. And that's really what I like to focus on in my business. And I didn't want to segregate people, or, you know, put them into categories and say, oh, I can't help you. Also, because people's diet changes all the time, and I could be doing this now and I could be doing something else later, and I don't want those kind of pressures on me, because you know, we only get one life, and as long as we're being responsible and trying to live it with the most compassion, that's really all that matters. And I watched those Why I'm No Longer Vegan videos. I really got upset at some people because I feel like they weren't addressing the issues of the compassion piece. And what I will say is that you can't deny that terrible things happen to people. And I'm not going to sit up here and be like those other YouTubers, like, I try my best to have free range, ethical raised, cage-free eggs, and grass-fed beef, and all this other stuff. Did y'all see this open? Strange. I'm not going to sit up here and say that to you. And I really want to say that I don't even believe that some of them do that, because it's just kind of difficult to know where your food is coming from. And that's whether it be plant-based or not. You just don't ever know. But what I will say is I am trying my hardest to not over-consume, and just consume as much, you know, what I feel like I need, and still also have plant-based foods, because I really think that that's what we should be advertising. It's just people having more vegetables, more fruit, more beans and grains, legumes, and things like that, versus telling people that they shouldn't have it at all. It's not realistic for people to always have that type of diet. I mean, because you might live in certain areas where certain things are abundant. You know, if I lived in Hawaii or by a beach or something like that, and that was a part of my culture, I would dare not say that I shouldn't eat a piece of fish, or, you know, whatever. It's just not human nature to tell somebody that they can't eat what's indigenous to them all the time. And as a matter of fact, I mean, we do that a lot of time in a plant-based. When we're eating plant-based, we're eating fruit that have been genetically modified to be able to sustain or grow in environments that they're not really supposed to. So versus just eating something that is locally grown there in you know, eating the animal sources that come from that area. So really interested in doing what I feel like is best for my body, and I want to do, as a health coach, do the responsible thing, which is helping people to manage where they are right now. Those things I talked about, how to manage their binge eating, their overeating, portion control, how they feel about themselves, how they value themselves, and how they feel when they look in the mirror. And those are the things that I want to focus on, versus whether or not you're 100% plant-based or you're not. So yeah, I just really wanted to make this video about you know, those topics and my thoughts around them, but also to create a safe space for people who really want to just have a healthy lifestyle, and no matter what that looks like for them, but just targeting some of those things that I talked about. But I think it's important to create spaces like this, because people want so much to fit into a certain category or a group, and I have to admit that I felt good saying that I was vegan, and to say that I was a part of this group who has so much compassion for other animals and other beings. And I will say that just because you're not that way does not make you less compassionate of a person. There are things that you can do to still make a good impact on other people and to the planet itself. and doesn't make you hate dogs because you eat cows or whatever. You know, and I know that's hard for some people to understand, and I'm not here to advocate for either which way, but I do want to let people know that just because you do consume animal products, and you're not fully plant-based, does not make anything wrong with you. You don't have to strive to be 100% perfect. You don't have to be like, oh, well, I'm not there yet, but I'm here, and feeling like you're going to be judged by people just because you have some cheese or you eat some chicken or you splurge once a year or whatever. That's not really what's important, and it really takes away from the whole ideal of what being vegan is anyways. Kate Flowers mentioned this on her channel, that even if you are, it's better to have a lot of people doing a little than to have a few people doing a lot, and that's where you're really going to make a better planet. So just know that you guys are safe here, and hopefully you know, I get the same in return. I'm not really worried about people and like mean and negative comments, because I've never been the type of person who really, you know, I guess care what other people think, because I mean, you know, we all have our own lives to live, and I know in my heart that, you know, that I do what I can, and that I do what I want to do, and that I try my best to be as compassionate as possible. But I don't have to explain that, so neither do you really. But the last thing is that nobody should feel scared or judged to decide to change their diet, to decide that they want to do something different. But what I will say is that it's important for us to really look at those core issues and decide why it is that we want to do certain things. Like for me, I really wanted to go plant-based. I thought it was easy. I really also don't even like the taste of meat that much. So it just seemed like, okay, why not go forward and do it? But when I tell you, it's been very difficult, and I don't regret it at all, but it has taught me how to be mindful of what I eat. It also has shown me a lot of variety, because before this I would have never have plant-based protein power bowl like I just did before I recorded this video. I'm so grateful for that. So everybody's journey is different, and I'd be happy to help anybody who's still. So going forward, what I feel like is going to happen is basically what's already been happening, that I'm going to continue eating a pretty diverse palette, eating a lot of plant-based foods, and also still incorporating a few animal products as I see fit and as I want to, and just pretty much just trying to keep my health intact, so that way I can be the best health coach for people who need help. And as far as this channel is concerned, I really don't know. I feel like being plant-based and leading a vegan lifestyle really helped me create a purpose for this channel. So let me know your thoughts. Would you like to see what I eat in a day videos? Would you like more educational things as I start to transition into and evolve my business as a health coach, as in being specialized in nutrition? What would you guys like to see? So let me know below. But I will say that I'll continue to do my due diligence by having plant-based products. I really don't see a need for me to use anything other than plant-based, like hair care, makeup, and medicine, and choosing the vegan option for supplements and things like that. That'll still remain the same, as also being able to wear as ethical clothing as possible. So those things won't change, and yeah, so I see a lot of positivity happening, and I also am excited about that. I'm excited about the change. And who knows, maybe later on I might be like, you know what, forget this, or it could not work well with my body and I could go back to doing something else. But for now, this is what it is. But I'm still excited to create this channel, and I'm glad that I'm now getting the motivation again to start making videos. So please let me know what you'd like to see. So if you guys like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Give me any positive comments that you want to in below, and please let me know as well what kind of content you like to see going forward. I'd love to hear from you. So if you're not following me on social media, please do. It's just at Chantel Janae. on Instagram, on Facebook, and Snapchat. I think that's all I have. I'm pretty sure, I hope that I kept this video under 15 minutes. Please stay tuned to my channel, and also to the next videos, because the next one I'm going to be talking about just a general life update. I've got a lot of exciting things that I've been working on, and I can't wait to share them with you all. If you stay to the end, thank you for listening, and I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope that you, if you're going through the same thing, feel that you have a safe space here to kind of share in your journey as well. So until next time, peace.